Hello, in this lecture we will see the difference between computer architecture and computer organization. Then subsequently hierarchical structure of a digital computer system, and then the two common architecture, that is von Neumann and Harvard, the basic difference, and finally the most prevailing architecture nowadays, that is the von Neumann architecture, the details of it. So let us start here first of all the difference between computer architecture and computer organization. So here the difference is expressed in two columns. First column is computer architecture, second column is computer organization. So here is the first difference. Computer architecture defines the parameters or attributes which are visible to the programmer, means which are available to the programmer. Whereas computer organization that defines the attributes which are invisible or non-available to the programmer. Now here the term programmer and user, that is interchangeably used. Similarly, parameter and attributes are one and the same. Okay, in the architecture, those parameters, those characteristics which are visible, which are available to the user or programmer, those are defined. Whereas organization, those parameters which are non-visible, non-available, those are defined. Now let us take some example here, which is my second point of difference. Here that architecture includes, these are some of the parameters here, that is instruction set, then the number of bits of that architecture, then the data transfer mechanism, etc. Now what does it mean? Computer architecture defines instruction set which is readily available to the user. As we know that the manuals containing that set of instruction and how to use that particular instruction, that manual is readily available to the programmer or the user. Then in the detailed design of that architecture that gives number of bits of that particular architecture here. It means that we normally speak of that my computer system means architecture system that is of 32 bit or say 64 bit. Earlier it was 16 bit. It means that number of bits that is a part of that computer architecture itself. Then the data transfer mechanisms. It means that architecture supports so many of USB ports, so many of parallel ports. Okay, if there is a printer port, then printer port is also shown. It means that data transfer mechanisms are also defined and those are available, those are visible to the programmer. Of course, these are only few important attributes or parameters which are enlisted here. There can be many more. If you open up the manual, you will get every detail regarding this. Then next is on the right side, that is a computer organization that includes the control signals, interfacing methods, then the details of control unit designs, etc. Now these parameters are more of the use of those engineers, the designers. It means that organization that includes those parameters which are very much complex to understand to a common human being. Okay, common user is not aware of what type of control signals are internally generated, which method of interfacing of memory or input output device has been internally used, or what type of control unit design is used here, whether it is a hardwired control or the microprogrammed control, that a common user is not aware of that. Okay, these are the parameters or attributes which are useful to the design engineers. Okay, so these most complex parameters which are non-available to the programmer, their complexity is kept hidden from the normal user. These parameters are included under that computer organization here. Now next difference has been stated in different color. You can observe it. Computer architecture includes simply the instruction because manual is available with you, with the programmer, with the user. So simply that instruction is available, the scope of operation of that instruction is available to the user. Whereas in case of computer organization, that includes the method to implement that instruction. It means organization that gives the micro operations basically. How that particular instruction is internally implemented, what algorithm used. For example, a multiply instruction, which is a part of architecture. But the way of performing that multiplication, that is defined under the organization. Because multiplication, it can be implemented by using repetitive additions. That way. Or by using a dedicated hardware. Okay. Or by using a shift and add technique. So there can be various ways to implement that particular multiplication instruction here. Which one is applicable to this organization, that is defined here. And then the last point of difference is a generalized one which has been stated here, that architecture remains same for many years, like IBM PC architecture. Okay, we are using it for last so many years, 30-40 years. Similarly, Apple Mac architecture. So architecture remains same for many years, whereas such type of architecture has got many organizational models with different price and performance characteristic. It means that organization is now considered as just a part of that architecture. Okay, a particular architecture like say IBM PC has got many organizational models with different price and performance characteristic. For example, when IBM PC was first launched some 20-30 years back, 30 years back almost, then it was just the IBM PC which was based on Intel's 8088 microprocessor. Then the next organizational model which has been released by IBM, that was IBM PC XT, XT for extended technology. Then it has come up with IBM PC 80. 80 stands for advanced technology. It means that IBM PC has got so many transitions here over a period of time. Okay, let us take a more recent example here. Okay, Intel has released the multi-core processors like say i3 processor, i5 processor, i7 processor, like that. Now this organizational models that includes a system which is based on i3 processor under various generations. Then i5 processor organizational model under various generations. Then i7 various generations. It means that that architecture is a multi-core processor, but it has got multiple or many organizational models with a different price and performance characteristic. So these are the broad views which will differentiate between computer architecture and computer organization here. Okay, courtesy to the book written by William Stalling on computer architecture and organization, some of the points are taken directly from it. Now, The second point which I want to explain here is about hierarchical structure of digital computer system. Now hierarchical means that digital computer system is supposed to be designed in multiple levels. Those are called as say hierarchical levels, and that can be viewed accordingly, that can be observed accordingly. So see here, there are three levels in hierarchical structure of computer organization. First level is a digital computer top level structure. Then the second level is CPU level structure. CPU stands for Central Processing Unit. And the third, the most complex level is a control unit, CU level structure. Okay, let us see here quickly those corresponding three levels in that hierarchical structure. So first of all, digital computer, the top level structure, which is shown here. Now here you can observe that a generalized digital computer has been expanded here in order to show to a common man, a common non-technical man, the contents inside. Now in that expanded view of digital computer, you will find central processing unit, then main memory, then at least one input device, at least one output device. And all three sections are connected by using system interconnection here. Basically, what I mean by system interconnection, it is nothing but the internal system bus of the digital computer. Okay, CPU, Central Processing Unit, is the microprocessor. Main memory contains read-only memory as well as random access memory, both the types. Then input-output device is a collection of few input devices, few output devices, at least one each. And all are connected by using the system bus here. Now let me tell you, nowadays, the system bus is PCI bus, which is very much common in the today's systems. Earlier it was ISA bus, Industry Standard Architecture bus. Many more buses are developed here by various manufacturers, and they are used for making interconnection or integration of the main components of a digital computer system, namely CPU, main memory and input-output device. Now, this second level structure is a CPU level structure. In the top level structure of digital computer, CPU was just one section. Now here after that engineering starts. It means that CPU level structure will define what are the various components which are available internally. So here is that expanded view of that corresponding CPU here. What that CPU contains? That CPU contains arithmetic and logic unit for performing arithmetic and logical operation on that input data. Then it contains registers which are used for the storage of data and also for the addressing purpose, registers. Then at the bottom you will find a control unit. Control unit, it is used for the interpretation of the instruction, which is nothing but the decoding of instructions. And then generation of various control signals so as to perform the arithmetic or logical operation inside ALU section. And then these three components are connected by using internal CPU interconnection, which is nothing but the internal bus of the CPU of the microprocessor. Okay, this internal bus of the CPU or microprocessor is very important because it is one of the factor which will decide the size of that corresponding microprocessor here. Okay, just as an example, in case of Intel's 8086 microprocessor CPU, that internal data bus of the processor, that is 16-bit. So that this particular processor is called as a 16-bit processor here. Of course, it is just one parameter. There are two more parameters like size of each of that register and the size of arithmetic logic unit as well. So this is about that CPU level structure here. Now the next is the most complex level is control unit CU level structure, which is expanded below. Now here is that control unit. Now control unit in an expanded view, it shows control memory at the bottom, then control unit registers and decoders in the mid, and sequencing logic. Okay, this particular control unit, its design, it can be done by using hardwired control unit or a microprogrammed control unit. Now here, in this particular expanded view, the third level, the most complex level of digital computer system here, this control unit is a microprogrammed one. Okay, it contains control unit registers and decoders. Whatever assembly language instruction which is fetched, that will be decoded here inside control unit registers and decoders, that particular block. Okay, it was assembly language instruction. This assembly language instruction will be having its corresponding microprogram, also called as a microcode, which is already stored within that control memory. Now this microcode or microprogram contains a number of micro instructions, and these micro instructions would be one by one taken and executed per clock. So for one assembly language instruction, there is a microprogram, a separate microprogram, which contains a number of micro instructions, and their sequencing, their one by one execution will be handled by sequencing logic, which is shown on the top side. Okay, so this particular control unit level structure, it is applicable for microprogrammed control unit and not for the hardwired control unit. These details of microprogram and hardwired we are going to study under the control unit designs along with advantages and drawbacks. So this is all about that hierarchical structure of a digital computer system. Now next is the two common architectures. These are von Neumann architecture and Harvard architecture. Okay, now those are to be differentiated. Out of that, von Neumann architecture is the most prevailing architecture, widely accepted architecture inside digital computer system, which we are going to study in detail. So first of all, difference between these two. Now here again that difference will be specified in two columns. Von Neumann architecture, it is also called as a Princeton architecture versus Harvard architecture. Let us see here. First of all, on the extreme right, you will find a very much simplified connection of that memory in von Neumann as well as Harvard architecture. You will find in von Neumann architecture, program and data memory is a common memory, whereas separate memory in case of Harvard. Okay, so let us see here the difference. The first difference which I have just now stated, von Neumann or the Princeton architecture, it contains a common memory for storage of program and data. It is a common memory which is clearly shown on the right side diagram. Whereas in case of Harvard architecture, there is a separate memory. It means that program will be stored in program memory, that is a set of instructions, and whatever data which we want to process or whatever result data which has got generated after processing, that will be stored within that data memory. So separate memories exist within that Harvard architecture here. Common memory exists between von Neumann. So this is first difference. Second, as that memory is common for program and data storage, in case of von Neumann architecture, there is no protection amongst that program and data here. Okay, that care is to be taken by the programmer not to contaminate, not to corrupt either program or data due to other entity. Okay, here that protection is not supported by your system because program and data memory is common in von Neumann. But in case of Harvard, there is a separate program memory, separate data memory, so it provides a natural protection. That means user is completely relieved and he is not liable to provide the protection between program and data. That is naturally protected. Now the next, that von Neumann, this architecture is simple, inexpensive. It contains simple and inexpensive hardware. Why? Because a single memory is required. A single bus is required. A single bus means there are three sections within that bus. Address bus. Within that von Neumann architecture, that upper part, upper bus is the address bus. Middle one is the data bus. And then the bottom one, that is control bus. So this set of address, data and control bus, that is common for program and data, that common memory. That's why hardware is simple and inexpensive in case of von Neumann architecture. Whereas in case of Harvard architecture, we require duplication of memory, so duplication of buses. One set of bus that is for program memory, the other set of bus is for data memory. That's why hardware is costly and also complex. Then the next difference here, that von Neumann, it is having a complex operating system here because it has to take care of the management of that memory in a proper way. So operating system is complex in case of von Neumann, whereas Harvard architecture, it is having a simple operating system. OS is simple. And then the last point which has been stated here, that is von Neumann, it has got less execution speed because there is a bottleneck. Whenever CPU is accessing instruction from that memory, that time data access is not possible because memory is common, bus is common. In von Neumann, CPU accessing program or instruction, by that time data access is not possible. And even the converse is also true. Whenever CPU accessing data, by that time instruction cannot be read, instruction cannot be fetched from that same memory. Okay, that's why execution speed is restricted in case of von Neumann architecture, whereas Harvard architecture, we are having separate buses, separate memory, so that simultaneously CPU can initiate the fetching of instruction from the program memory and also reading or writing data to that corresponding data memory here. And because of say two operations which are possible simultaneously in the Harvard architecture, that execution speed is more, higher execution speed. Okay, now the conclusion. Where this von Neumann architecture is preferred, nowadays every system, digital computer system prefers von Neumann architecture. Hardly any architecture is Harvard. But let me properly specify here. In case of microprocessors, which are normally pipeline microprocessors, that von Neumann architecture is preferred, which is used for the design and developments of digital computer systems. Whereas Harvard architectures are preferred in case of microcontroller based designs, which are application specific, control specific, and such type of systems are called as say embedded systems, like say temperature control mechanism, humidity control mechanism in the process control plants. These are few examples. Okay, so this is all about that von Neumann versus Harvard architecture here. Now out of these two architecture, as I stated even earlier, that von Neumann architecture, that von Neumann machine is the most prevailing machine nowadays for the digital computer here. So here is a digital computer structure, that is the von Neumann machine. Now the basic von Neumann machine, the diagram, which has been straightway taken from William Stallings book, Computer Organization and Architecture, has been copied here. Okay, this particular diagram shows that basic von Neumann machine. Okay, and this diagram, it is in a three-dimensional manner. You need not show it in a three-dimensional in the exams. You can show it in a two dimensions. Now at the central place there is a central processing unit, CPU, which contains arithmetic logic unit, bracket CA. Then program control unit, that is control unit, bracket CC. Okay, registers are not clearly shown here, which are there in the part of that arithmetic logic unit itself. Then to the left side of that CPU, central processing unit, is a main memory M. And on the right side, that is IO equipments, input or output device. At least one input, at least one output. And then the buses which are shown here by single arrows, these are nothing but the bidirectional buses, making connection amongst various parts of that von Neumann machine here. Now this particular von Neumann machine we need to explore more. So here is a basic part of that von Neumann machine which I have explained here under the operating principle of von Neumann machine. Now the first and foremost principle on which that von Neumann machine works, that it works on a stowed program concept. It works on stowed program concept. What does it mean? It means that the programmer has to store that corresponding program and data within that main memory. And then the execution can be started. It is not possible that instruction you are entering and subsequently once it is submitted, that particular instruction is submitted, without storing that instruction in the main memory, it is getting executed, is not possible in von Neumann machine here. It is not possible. So it works on a stored program concept. Program and data must be stored within that main memory and then using internal registers, using that internal control unit, these instructions will be fetched, decoded and executed inside ALU. Now next, as I have just now stated that main memory stores the program and data inside that single memory here, that is a common RAM. Even in the difference between that von Neumann and Harvard architecture, this part has been elaborated, shown in the diagram. That main memory stores program and data both inside that single memory here, that is a common RAM, random access memory. Then the control unit, which is shown in that von Neumann machine at the bottom inside CPU. That control unit interprets or decodes that particular instruction which is fetched from memory. Instruction is to be fetched from memory, it is to be decoded or to be interpreted by that control unit. Now what I mean by interpretation or decoding? Interpretation or decoding means what that instruction is supposed to perform, that will be decided here inside control unit. But actual operation is not performed inside control unit. Actual arithmetic or logical operation is performed inside arithmetic logic unit. Then the next is ALU, that processes data by executing that particular decoded instruction which comes through that control unit. Okay, decoded instruction comes through control unit, but actual processing of data will be done inside ALU, arithmetic logic unit. And then the last point here, last principle here, that generated result by that ALU that can be copied into memory that is a common memory of course, RAM, or that result can be sent to certain IO output device, So result can be either copied to memory or it can be sent to an output device straight away. So these are some of the operational principles, concepts of a von Neumann architecture here. Now some more details. That is the functional block diagram of von Neumann digital computer system. Now here, some more details inside that CPU which otherwise was not shown in that basic von Neumann machine. So inside that CPU you will find there are various registers and an execution unit which is shown at the bottom. The registers are PC, program counter, IR, instruction register. Then on the right side within that PC itself, MAR, memory address register. Then MBR, memory buffer register. Next is IOAR, input output address register. And then finally IOBR, input output buffer register, IOBR. So these are the contents inside that CPU, which includes even a single execution unit, which is nothing but arithmetic logic unit. Then next on the right side here is that memory, main memory, which is common for storage of instruction as well as data. You will find towards the upper end instructions are stored and towards the bottom end that data can be stored. It can be even reverse way also. Next, bottom left side will be IO module. It contains at least one input device, at least one output device. And normally each of that IO device nowadays it comes with internal buffer memory as well. As we are fully aware that whenever we get or purchase a printer from the market, then inside that printer there is a buffer memory. So whatever data, whatever file which I want to print, okay, in section by section, contents will be copied within that buffer and then the contents of that buffer will be printed character by that corresponding printer device. The same concept is applicable to other IO devices as well. So these are the main sections here of a digital computer suggested by von Neumann, and then here is that corresponding system bus which connects all three components together. You can observe it. And then the list of register inside CPU that is written with their corresponding full forms on the right side. Okay, already I have stated I need to explain the functionality of each of that register in detail towards the end. Okay, before we start these registers here, let me once again specify here, repeat here one very important concept in case of von Neumann digital computer system, that operating system is complex because instructions which are on one part of main memory and data which is in the other part of main memory should not contaminate. In case if my operating system is not supporting that particular protection, then user has to take care. The programmer has to take care. That is very important. And then here is that CPU internal registers, which are the part of that corresponding CPU inside that von Neumann digital computer. So inside that CPU internal register, it includes all the register other than general data. First of all, MAR, memory address register, it holds memory address. But in which operation, whenever we are performing reading data or writing data with respect to that memory, it means that memory address register, it holds address of memory for read and write operations. Next is MBR. It holds that actual data which is read from that memory or written into that addressed memory. Okay, it means that MAR holds the address of memory and MBR holds that corresponding data which is read from or written into that memory. Same thing is applicable to IOAR. It holds IO device address during read or write operations. IOBR, it holds that actual data which is read from certain input device or written to certain output device, addressed output device. Okay, in general, it holds the data which is read from or written into the addressed IO device. Then the next register here is PC, that stands for program counter. It points the address of the next instruction to be executed. Now it is very interesting. Whenever one instruction is executed, its execution is started by the processor, by the CPU. Subsequently, PC will be pointing the next memory location from where the subsequent instruction is to be fetched for execution purpose. It will be always pointing one location ahead. Though my earlier instruction is not completely executed, but still PC is pointing the address of next instruction. So that as soon as my earlier instruction gets completely executed, the next instruction which is pointed by program counter, its execution can be started. And once that execution is started, PC will point next to that third instruction, subsequent instruction. So PC will be always pointing the address of the next instruction to be executed. And finally, the last internal register is IR, stands for instruction register. It holds the instruction. In a more technical sense, it holds the instruction opcode while execution. Now what I mean by opcode? Opcode is operation code. It is the unique hexadecimal code which will specify the operation of that corresponding assembly language instruction. Processor works or processor has assembly language instruction which is in the mnemonic form. Mnemonic form instructions are very simple to remember. But each of that mnemonic will be having certain hexadecimal code for the purpose of digital computer. Okay, this hexadecimal code which is called as a opcode here. And this opcode, once it is fetched from memory, it is copied into IR, instruction register, till that instruction gets completely executed.